everybody. Really glad to be with you. I wanted to talk with you this week about a couple of things that involve the provincial and the local government. The first thing is that the city budget process is starting again. And you'll remember last year there was, oh my goodness, there was like over $700 million was claimed that we were short on the budget, and there were going to have to be these drastic cuts to be able to make up for that. I don't know if you remember that. Mayor Ford and his allies were going on and on about all of this money that had to be cut from the budget. And but people responded. People responded really effectively last year. And if you remember, in the summertime, actually, not that long ago, over 300 people came to City Hall to make deputations to the various budget committee and the executive committee and different committees about what they wanted to be kept in the budget. And we were very successful last year with people organizing and people coming together, and we were able to get a city budget passed that did not take the kinds of action that they were threatening and did not make the kinds of cuts that they were threatening. So it really was an evidence of the power of regular people coming out and speaking to the city and getting engaged in politics and getting engaged in the city budget. So it was a great victory. So of course, you know, this kind of process comes around year after year after year. And once again, the city, and this is while, of course, the mayor was allowed to stay in his job for now until the appeal of his conflict of interest case is heard. But really, we have very little leadership at the highest points in the city. Little leadership from our mayor, little leadership from his allies. But nevertheless, the city continues to operate, and we continue to need to come out as community members, as residents of this city. We need to come out, and we need to let the mayor, hit the councillors, the different committees that are considering the budget. We need to let them know what we think about, once again, proposed cuts. So the city deals with a lot of expenses and pressures that are downloaded on it by the province, and that's definitely a problem. Our city is made by the province and by the federal government. In fact, we are forced to pay for lots and lots of things with very limited sources of money. For example, our federal government has no national housing program. It has no national public transit program. And what that means is that there are very few federal dollars coming into the city for those really important services. Nevertheless, the city does have ways that it can raise money. And right now what we're looking at is a proposed budget that seeks to make very, very many deep cuts, particularly to housing and shelter. And this, of course, is an area that we cannot afford any more cuts. And in fact, we need to see the amounts of money that are put into housing and shelter in this city increased, not decreased. What it's really important for you to do, and for your neighbors and your friends and your family members to do, is to get engaged in this and to find out what's going on in terms of the city budget, and to make a commitment to go down to City Hall and let your councillors know what you think. And if you can't go to City Hall, you still can write to the mayor, you can write to the budget committee, and you can write to your local councillor and let them know what you think about their proposed cuts. I'm just going to read some information that I've gotten from a campaign called Commitment to Community. And I want you to know you can find out more about what I'm talking about and about the entire city budget at their website, and it's commitment to, the number 2, community.org, and we'll put that up on the screen for you. So hit that site, find out all you can about this budget process. One of the things Commitment to Community is highlighting is that what's being proposed is a 16.1% or $128 million cut to housing and shelter. That includes $72 million in federal and provincial cuts and $56 million in city cuts. So as I say, this is, you know, our city is struggling because it doesn't have the kind of support it should have from the province and the federal government. But nevertheless, the city is the last resort. It is the place that we depend on, or the level of government we depend on, to provide shelter and support and housing. What will the cuts do? The cuts will be to housing follow-up, so that's when people leave shelter and they get out on their own in the community. Often people need follow-up and support. There'll be cuts to that. There'll be cuts to pre-employment support, cuts to meals, snacks, and food allowances in shelters. This is disgusting, folks. These are people who are homeless. And what the governments are doing is saying, even though the reason we haven't got enough money is not because poor people spent too much. The reason we haven't got enough money is because speculators, banks, CEOs, corporations refuse to invest money that they're sitting on, and because those speculators and those people that are playing around in the stock market took huge gambles with regular people's money and lost those gambles, and that's why we're in the predicament that we're in. But poor people, once again, the poorest of the poor, are being asked to pay for rich people's mistakes. So it'll mean 52 shelter beds gone out of city shelters, 120 in community shelters being cut. It'll reduce access to the housing hotline, it'll cut training for housing workers, and it'll result in fewer rent subsidies, the kind of thing that helps a lot of people maintain their housing in affordable housing. So there's more information about these cuts and what they'll mean. A fellow named Michael Shapcott has written about that. You can find his little flip sheets, so kind of fact sheets on this at www.wellesleyinstitute.com, and again we'll make sure to put that up on the screen for you. So the commitment to the community campaign is saying we don't want to see that money come out of the housing and shelter support. We in fact want to see City Council put $96 million into the budget for housing. So $56 million of that would be to reverse this cut that is being proposed at the city level, and the rest of the money, $40 million, would respond to the rising cost of running programs, the increased demand, because Toronto, of course, is growing, and because, of course, our provincial and federal governments are not doing their share. It isn't enough, but it'll do a little bit to mitigate those cuts. And Commitment to Community believes that there can be money found for this, and I totally agree with them. One of the things that we're hearing constantly is there is no money, there is no money. This is the reason the province is using to suggest that all public sector workers' wages have to be frozen. This is what's being floated as the reason why the province is cutting the community startup and maintenance benefit, delaying an increase in the child tax benefit, and on and on. This is the lack of money is supposedly why the federal government can't take the kind of responsibility it's supposed to take. But this is bullshit, excuse my language. This is BS because what's happening is all levels of government are refusing to look at steps that they could take that could put money, that could increase the amount of revenue coming into the government. What kinds of things could they be looking at? Number one, they could be reforming our tax system so that our tax system is a progressive one, where people who make more money and who can afford to pay more taxes do pay more taxes. Canada and Ontario has one of the lowest tax rates in the entire, I think the entire G20, and we could be doing more. Supposedly these tax cuts to corporate taxes and to wealthy people's taxes, supposedly that's supposed to stimulate investment in the economy. Well, guess what, folks? It's been 4 years since the last recession. It's been 20 odd years since Paul Martin, or almost 20 years since Paul Martin gave corporations $100 billion in tax cuts in 1995, and we are not seeing the investment that has been promised. This tax cut mantra, this saying that tax cuts are what's going to fix the problem, it's not. So the city, what could the city do? Well, the city could use a portion of the 2012 surplus. The city could make up for the property tax freeze that happened in 2011 by increasing property taxes by, let's say, the rate of inflation, 2.5%, even 3%. It's possible. They're only proposing 1.95%. The city could introduce or reintroduce the vehicle registration tax. The city could look at higher development taxes. God knows the level of taxes right now isn't slowing down development. So obviously there could be more money got there. The city could impose road tolls as a way to pay for some of the infrastructure spending we have to do, and on and on. There is so much that could be done to bring more money into our budget. Rob Ford is supposedly a big fishing buddy of Stephen Harper. Why don't we see Rob Ford pushing Stephen Harper to give a portion of the GST to the city, to all cities across Canada. Why don't we see Rob Ford using his friendship with Stephen Harper to press for a national housing program, to press for a childcare program, affordable childcare, to make that accessible, and to press for public transit and funding for public transit. It's just shameful. These guys hang out together. They attend each other's cottages, and yet they never apparently talk about the things that our city needs. Instead, what the mayor is content to do, and the many other councillors are content to do, is allow homeless people, women, working people, poor people, new immigrants, and many, many other marginalized people. They're content to have us and those people pay for the mistakes of the rich and the negligence of the federal and provincial governments. So we got to say no to that, folks. And here's what you can do. Go to commitmenttocommunity.org. Find out about the key dates coming up in the budget deliberations, and sign up to make a deputation. December 9th is the last day to register to make a deputation by 4:30 p.m. And you can do that by writing to buc@toronto.ca, or we'll put up a phone number, 416-392-4365. And you can sign up to do a deputation. Deputations will be delivered on December 10th and December 11th. And your deputation will be 5 minutes long. There's a little how-to on how to do a deputation at the Commitment to Community website. And so you can find out very easily how to make your feelings, make your thoughts, and make your ideas known. The people of Toronto have great ideas about how to support and build this city up. And even when our politicians don't show the kind of creativity and the kind of passion that we need them to, we can put that into them. We can go and we can talk to City Hall. So I encourage you all to do that. It'll take a few minutes of your time. Your deputation doesn't have to be very professional. It just needs to be what you think, and it needs to be something that pertinent and talking about the city budget. So inform yourself. Go to Commitment to Community. Go to the Wellesley Institute to find more about housing, and then sign up to give a deputation. Make your voice heard. Make the politicians know that if they won't show the leadership, the people of Toronto will. See you.